we find ourselves looking up at the stars once again out here on Silver Ridge Peaks, and that can only mean one thing, and that is that we're back out here for the black bear grind. Now, this isn't going to be a typical black bear run, and I should mention I'm recording this as a prepped video for rifle season, so we may know more information regarding New England when this video comes out, but at the time of recording, we do not know the release date for that map. So basically, my plan is to come out here at least one last time and just kind of do an entire sweep of the map. We're not going to do the normal run. We're going to try to check every single lake and look and see if we can find black bears anywhere, just in case a great one may have spawned from the grinding that we've done. And a fairly predictable start, a level 4. Our last couple of hunts out here in the daylight have produced black bears roughly in this size range. Not a lot of big ones, but good to get a male down already. And like I said, we may end up doing this one more time still, so I do want to go ahead and actually shoot the things that we encounter. And you never know, it could become the case that New England just isn't as good a black bear map as Silver Ridge Peaks, and we may end up just bringing our grind right back here. But I am at least hoping that we could do it on New England for a couple of reasons. Number one, just the idea of having a fresh start is really appealing. And honestly, SRP, since the changes, just really hasn't been nearly as good. Now, it could be that we haven't discovered enough zones, enough spots, the right zones or spots, and maybe that's something that we can work on today as we're going around out through here, checking on every single lake, and we'll kind of just see where this brings us. But regardless, we do want to go ahead and take out the bears just in case. By the way, messed up the shot on that level 7, 378 meters. I kind of thought we may have been a touch forward. We weren't too low, but had that been just a little further back instead of hitting kind of the elbow there and having too much flesh to go through, I think we would have had the bottom of the lung. So close, but at least we got him down for a respawn that may or may not matter depending on what happens. I mean, that'll work. Got a level 9 coming right towards us. Need to get that shot in there quickly because he was going to take off running quicker. When they get to a certain distance, they'll just sprint, and we were probably right at that distance. I think we got him in the back of the lungs to liver the first time. Second shot confirmed that we would get the max medal at least, and he has a diamond at 22.91. Liver stomach contestant followed by lung liver stomach contestant, so kind of pushing it, but not a bad deal. This is technically our first diamond of the, call it second grind, I guess. It's still the same grind to me, but because there was the reset and redistribution and everything, it's sort of a fresh start, I guess. And this was a spot that we've had some luck with bears. The first time we ever came down here, there were 3 down on this end. And by the way, this is why I think it's necessary to check every lake at this stage. Because now, at best we get one male here, and in this case it was level 9, and that's great. But the question is, 4 lakes like this, where, you know, we had 3 at the start and now we have none, where are those male bears? They don't just disappear. They've got to be drinking somewhere else on the map, the respawns from those bears. And we just have to find where that is, and really the only way to do it is just check every spot. Now, I probably should note, not every single bear in this hunt is going to be included in the video, because otherwise there is potentially going to be 20-25 bears, maybe more. And unless we end up finding, you know, a bunch of really high level ones, it would be a bunch of sort of average bears, and I'm at least hopeful that we can find that many. We know that prior to the changes, when bears were drinking in daylight, we could get, if we really hit every single lake, 25 or 30 per run. By the end, we were only shooting about 15, but we had really focused in on a couple of areas and sort of intentionally were ignoring lakes that had like 10 bears. We had, at the Sun Sisters Lake, 10 male black bears, all level 6 or below, just sitting there, and we made the decision not to grind that, and that was passing up the potential to get our total up above 20-25. So my thought process is, they still have to be here, and hopefully by hitting every lake we'll get somewhere near that number, but, you know, the lower level ones for the most part probably will be cut out for the sake of not having a 30-minute video of a bunch of very similar bears. That said, we will though for the moment accept another level 6, one that should add a shot at gold, and is actually at 19.43. This was the location of our first rare this grind. It was on a stream, I didn't know it was a rare, it was actually a female. I think it was the brown variant? I actually don't even remember what it was, but somewhere right back in here, shot that one and ended up getting a rare out of it, so good to know there are still males around, and we'll just kind of move on to the next spot. That appears to be it. You know, I'm beginning to realize a couple of things here. Number one, we're missing something. Like, we've shot, I think, 12 bears, and we're on to our second run now. There just don't seem to be that many. The other and maybe more important thing is, I kind of think they fixed that thing where you would shoot and the bears would immediately stand on their hind legs. We've not had that, at least that I can recall, since the reset and redistribution of Silver Ridge Peaks. So that was the entire time a concern for trying to take a great one with the bow. There was the idea that if we didn't take the shot, either when they were in their drinking animation or maybe when they were already standing on their hind legs, that there is a chance it would end up being a flesh hit, and with the bow and the proper arrows, that would ultimately kill the bear, even if it ran off and it took a while. That is going to float back to the other side. I think we might be able to grab it before it goes, but that's kind of encouraging anyway, and I am curious if you guys have encountered it since, I guess, the release of the handgun pack, so anytime in the last, like, 2 months. And I'm just kind of wondering if that actually has been fixed, because I don't recall that being a part of any patch notes or anything like that, but as I said, I certainly don't recall seeing it anytime recently. That obviously is a silver, but I'm just trying to figure out what else to do. I know for certain there are quite a number of black bears along here, and I was gonna ignore that spot, but frankly, I think we've been everywhere else, and some bears have gotten away. We've maybe seen 18 to 20 males, which isn't that bad, but it still feels like something's off. So I guess we'll run this. Maybe we'll shoot any good ones we see, but this is one of those spots that typically I just leave whatever's there. Unless I would run along and spot a level 9 or naturally a great one, I would shoot that. But otherwise, I just tend to think it's better. A spot like this that's really difficult to grind, really difficult to hunt all the way along it. Typically, I tend to ignore it, but I just don't know where else to go. So I suppose we'll just go for this, a 300-meter shot. And honestly, the issue from this particular location is that if this bear doesn't drop, it can run down into the water. Now, I don't think it's going to... it might do exactly that. It started, like, sprinting at the water, and that hill's pretty steep, so that's what happens. We're not going to be able to claim that. It's basically impossible. Now, if that was a great one or a level 9, we'd find a way, but this cliff is so steep, and it's going to float right to the base of the cliff. So that one's a lost cause, but I guess technically that's a respawn. You can just barely see him over there. Kind of when I zoom out, you can see it a little bit better. But that's where he's floating over to, and it's so steep there. You just can't really get down to that spot. You always end up falling into the water, and I think maybe you could attempt to jump from the top and claim him if you could land right where he's at, but it's really difficult to actually get that to happen, and I took that shot intentionally to try to explain that's a risk from that spot, and it's not hard to avoid it. You just go down to here before you end up shooting. And again, had it been a great one, and actually we're going to try to take the great one with a bow, but a level 9 or whatever we'd shoot with a gun, we'd go down to that spot before shooting or figure something else out, but kind of worked out well. I could show it and actually have it happen. I mean, I guess that's something. I'm not sure I knew female black bears could reach level 4. I just want to see if it's like a even weight number. Let's say it's 90 kg flat or something. It may be like a max weight female, which would be fitting. We could achieve something like that. I guess it's going to be higher than 90, but we could probably find that as well before finding a great one. We had just about every possible thing in the previous grind other than a great one. We had a level 1 male. We had, you know, every possible variant. 127.85, so unless that's the strangest possible number they could have chosen for max weight as a female, I guess it's not, but I don't know, I feel like I see level 3s all the time, and that's kind of it. Well, I suppose a level 5 male is going to be fitting as the last bear on this lake, and we didn't discover a new zone by spotting that, so we've seen him before. Again, I'd go down here and check this area often. I would love to know what happened. Maybe a vertebrae shot or something, but usually every 100 kills or so, I run like down through here and I try to check every lake and just make sure there's no respawn of something good that I've been missing. And that guy's been one that's been sitting there, but at this point, we're just gonna go ahead and try to take everything. And frankly, having gone to every lake, My official diagnosis of the problem is that I have no idea what's going on. It still seemed like there should have been more male bears than there were, and it could be very simple. If there is a bear right over there right now, running across, if we don't put our binoculars up and see it, we're just probably not going to know it's there. Because it's dark out, we could just be missing stuff, and that might be all it is, and New England's not going to fix that. It's nearly a guarantee, in my opinion. Black bear are going to have the same exact drink time on that map as they do on every other map. They've kind of synced all that stuff up, so I don't think there's any reason to be holding out hope for that. That said, I think there's still a chance they could be in better spots. Maybe it's going to be an easier map to grind for that, and we'll just have to see. I don't feel like we made any major discoveries today as far as where to grind for bears. I think for the most part it validated our approach of kind of zeroing in on that one particular area, but I do want to see. Oh, that is still a thing. Alright, well that answers that. They do indeed still stand up immediately, sometimes when you shoot. Good to know. Suppose that problem with the bow has not actually been solved, but regardless, we had kind of come up with a workaround for it, and I think we'll still be okay, should the opportunity ever arise. But finally, we can get out of the dark and head back to the trophy lodge, because we did kill our first diamond of the second iteration of this grind today. You know, we really are starting to fill up this lodge with a lot of black bear. This grind has produced quite a few, and finally, with this kind of second iteration, we get to add something other than the 2 rare females in the 22.9 scoring diamond. So not one of our best, but it's just good to get something other than the 2 that I think were initial spawns, the cinnamon and the brown fur type female black bear. So one more plaque in this room, and then that's going to be it. And who knows, there may be a long ways to go, and there's still plenty of space. I mean, we've got this room in here, I'm pretty sure is untouched, and we still have a lot of room in the back, but we have, between the 2 grinds, the red deer and the black bear, really almost filled up an entire lodge, just in grinding for great ones. And it remains to be seen whether or not we're continuing on SRP or New England, and like I said at the beginning, we may know at least the release date by the time this video drops. I'm not even sure exactly when it's going to come out, but anyway, that is going to do it for this video. So as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.